Everybody, it's Rodell in the ATL, and of course, we're live on a Taste of Tradition podcast this evening. Welcome to the show. It's Real Talk with Rodell. Real Talk with Rodell. Got special guest with me this evening. I'm honored to have him aboard to talk about his journey. Teddy Ashton is here, of course. Teddy is an author of a brand new book entitled A Golden Past and a Platinum Future. It was a monumental journey that took a former 6-year-old paperboy to the warehouse of Warner Brothers Records. Eddie Aston eventually became a supervisor of the mailroom in Atlanta to the company's boardroom in Burbank, California, as an award-winning record promoter executive, and of course, with an impressive work ethic and creative approach to the music industry, he enhanced the record sales of some of the world's most popular artists across multiple genres from Prince, Mars Day and Time, Vanity Six, Sheila E., Zap, featuring Roger, to Madonna, Quincy Jones, Miles Davis, and the list, everybody, goes on and on and on. This guy here, man, he's got a list. Welcome to the show, Teddy. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, Rodell. How are you today?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. Teddy, first of all, let's go back a little further. You're from Palmetto, Georgia, is it?
No, I'm a native of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a
Okay.
Grady baby.
Okay.
However, my family, we were basically, we were raised in rural Atlanta,
Hmm.
Palmetto, Fairburn, Union City, in those areas there. Back then, Rodell, those areas were considered to be the country.
Got you.
Now they're all part of the suburbs. I can get to Palmetto as quick as I can get to Marietta.
Hmm.
So I'm a native of Atlanta, but we did live in those rural areas as I was growing up as a kid.
So I like the story, man, where it says you were a paper boy. I remember coming to Atlanta back in '84, and that was the first job I took as a paper boy working for the AJC. So you worked for them as well, I take it.
Yes, I did. In fact, I was Palmetto's first paper boy. Long story short, I'm walking downtown Palmetto, 1962. I'm like 7, 8 years old, walking downtown Palmetto, and this paper man was riding in his van. He said, "Hey, young man, I'm looking for a paper boy. Would you like to be my paper boy? Would you like to work for me?" I said, "Well, I don't know." I said, "You got to come by the house and talk to my mom." And my mom said, "It's okay. Then we could talk about the money. But we got to talk to my mom about this first." So he came by the house that afternoon and talked to my mom. My mom felt comfortable and she thought that I would be safe with him. And for a couple of hours every afternoon, and we started the paper route in Palmetto, Georgia. So we had a route of about 60 people, and it was a great experience for me. The route manager, they used to play country and western music in the van every day, and I learned country and western music before I learned R&B and top 40. You know, but it was a great experience working for the Atlanta Journal and Constitution because Rodell, the paper truck that delivered the papers to brought the papers to Palmetto, they had to come all the way from Atlanta,
Hmm.
come through College Park, Forest Park, Fairburn, Union City before they got to Palmetto. And sometimes the paper man would be late bringing the papers, and which means that I would be late going to school every morning because the paper route was initially it was the Atlanta Journal, but the Atlanta Journal before the Atlanta Journal and Constitution consolidated to the HAC. So there was a morning route, and I had to get up every morning around 5:30, walk to the train depot, meet the route manager, and wait for the truck to come down through Highway 29 to get to Atlanta to drop off the papers in order for us to put the inserts in and get ready to deliver them. And I had to do all of that before school.
How about that? How about that? Man, that's interesting, man, because what I gather from that, Teddy, is the fact that you had a wonderful work ethic, because there are a lot of young people today, they want a quick fix, as they call it, or they want it right now, microwave, all those kinds of things. But it shows that you had a work ethic as to a youngster starting from scratch. What do you say to these young kids nowadays, from where you started to where you are now, that there is a journey? Would you agree?
Absolutely. Everybody has a journey. It really depends on, a lot of it depends on, your family values. A lot of it depends on your parents. A lot of it depends on that individual being focused on what they want to do. I wanted to work at a very early age so I could help my mom out, because I was making $1 a day, and $1 a day back then was a lot of money. So all I wanted to do was, hey, let me keep $2, mom. I'm gonna give you five, and I can buy all the ice cream and chips and candy I want for $2, and still have money left over.
How about
But
that?
the answer to your question is, whatever a person set their mind to do, no matter how young they are, don't let anyone discourage you from doing it if you haven't had a chance to explore those opportunities. It's just like raising kids, okay? I have a daughter and a son. They're both grown now. But as my daughter was growing up, she went into ballerina, ballet, cheerleading, track, all sorts of different sports and activities that she liked doing. My son, he liked baseball, football, karate. But as they got older, they didn't gravitate to any of those things. But the point is, we were very supportive of them, whatever they wanted to do. But at some point, they had to find their own ways because neither one is doing either one of those now. So, but they're very successful in their careers, but at the same time, they had to make up their mind based on what they felt comfortable doing. And it's just like us when we were growing up. One day I wanted to be the paper boy, and as I grew older, I wanted to work in restaurants. And as I got older, and I wanted to do other things, So, as I'm growing up, I wanted to be a detective. I wanted to be a private eye. I wanted to be a politician. So eventually I gravitated into the music industry. And from that, I really grew. I knew I had found my groove.
Man, let's talk about, because you're getting into your groove. I hope your phone is not still on. I hope you don't
N-
turn.
n- No, we good.
Yeah, the microphone seemed to get the feedback somehow or another. But anyway, um, you met Charles Gear. What was that experience like to get you started in the music industry?
Well, okay. So basically, I had gravitated into the restaurant field because my mom was a chef and a caterer. So I love cooking. I used to see her cooking all the time and help her in the kitchen. So I got a job working at the Old Hickory House restaurant. The Old Hickory House used to have a chain of restaurants all over the city, and Charles was working there as well. Now, Charles is my mentor, was my mentor, is my mentor. Had it not been for him, I never would have had the opportunity to work for Warner Brothers for 20 years. So, Charles always had his hands in the music industry. Him and Gladys Knight lived in the same neighborhood. He was very instrumental in Gladys Knight recording her first single, Every Beat of My Heart.
Hmm.
So he was always dabbling in the music industry. So as we were working at the old Hickory House, Atlantic Records called on Charles because the record label was expanding and growing. So Charles went to work for Atlantic Records, and they built a great artist roster there at Atlantic Records that included Aretha Franklin, the Spinners, the Average White Band, Wilson Pickett, Ray Charles, Betty Wright, Blue Magic, Sister Sledge, just to name a few. So they built a great music roster there. Plus, not only was Charles working for Atlantic Records, we were all part of a corporation called WEA,
Okay.
WEA,
Hmm.
W for Warner Brothers, E for Electra, A for Atlantic. So by Warner Brothers not being in the black music industry, maybe having a couple of artists, he was working for Warner Brothers and Atlantic. So once Warner Brothers started to get heavily into the black music industry, they asked Charles, Warner Brothers is getting ready to develop the black music division. What label do you want to work for? Do you want to work for Warner Brothers or do you want to work for Atlantic? Well, Warner Brothers didn't have a black roster at the time, so Charles said, "Hey, a bird in the hand is better than a bird in the bush. I'm going to stick with Atlantic Records."
Right.
So he went to work for Atlantic Records, which opened up the door. A couple of months later, Warner Brothers is starting to develop their black music division. And as I started out in the mailroom at the Warner Brothers Distribution Center, eventually promoted to the supervisor of the mailroom. And when Warner Brothers started to develop the black music division, they heard a lot of great things about me. So the boss from Burbank, Tom Draper, called me up and said, "Teddy, we're getting ready to develop a black music dynasty for Warner Brothers, and we'd like to have you on our team. Would you be interested?" Of course. Oh man, because I was already ready, Rodale, because Charles Gear had already showed me the ropes of the industry. Charles
Yeah.
used to take me on promotional tours with him. He used to take me to radio interviews when they were interviewing the artists. He used to take me to the in-store appearances when they had the artists appearing at the record stores to sign autographs. So I had been under his wing over a year. So when Warner Brothers started to develop their black music division, I was already ready to go.
Yeah.
Charles told Tom Draper, he said, "Look," he said, "when Teddy starts working in promotion, he's going to be one of the best people, if not the best person you ever had." He said, "I know because I trained him." And he was absolutely right. He was 100%. Had it not been for Charles Gear, I would not have the opportunity to have a great music career at Warner Brothers. And just to mention, Rodale, uh, when I started working for Warner Brothers, the only black artist that Warner Brothers had was Jimi Hendrix.
Okay.
Jimi Hendrix was, even though he's a black artist, he was a rock and roll superstar.
Hmm.
And then they, started dabbling in their black music. They signed Dr. John, The Meters, and eventually Candace Staten. Her first hit was Young Hearts Run Free.
And still a big hit to this day.
Still a big hit. You know, a good a good book is like good music. It never gets old.
Yeah.
And just to show you, you mentioned a couple of these artists, but I just want to kind of go through this roster here because it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
It's
it
an
is.
unbelievable roster of artists that we developed, promoted, groomed to be in the music industry because none of these artists even had a clue as to what the music industry was all about. So we started out promoting, marketing, and developed the careers of artists like Prince, Morris Day and the Time, Vanity Six, Sheila E., Zap featuring Roger, Madonna, Quincy Jones brought his label over to Warner Brothers, who brought us Tevin Campbell, Patty Austin, and James Ingram. Bob Marley signed to the label. Sly Stone. Well, let me get to Larry Graham first. When Sly and the Family Stone broke up, Larry Graham was the bass player for Sly and the Family Stone. Larry Graham
Mhm.
came over to Warner Brothers, and we put together the album for him that included the mega hit single "One in a Million You,"
Yeah.
which is still a chop, one of those records that never goes get old. And eventually Slack came over to Warner Brothers as well. Uh, Along with that, Donna Summer, Sylvester, Shaka Khan, Ashford and Simpson, George Clinton, the Funkadelics, Boosie's Rubber Band, Rod Stewart, Ice T, Biz Marquee, Big Daddy Kane, Michael McDonald, Al B. Shore, Karen White, George Benson, Earl Clue, Bob James, foreplay featuring Bob James, Lee Ritenour, Nathan East, and Harvey Mason. Along with that, we developed the careers of Al Jarreau, David Sanborn, Warner Isley as a solo artist, Joe Sample, Rose Royce, Frankie Beverly, Jennifer Holliday, Keith Washington, Atlantic Star, Jasmine Gott, the Force MD, Club Nouveau, the Tom Tom Club, just to name a few. We were on fire. At that point, we had surpassed every record label in the industry, including Motown, including Columbia, including Epic Records. We were on fire, and that's the roster that we built there at Warner Brothers Records.
So let me ask you this, Teddy. You've dealt with so many artists, so many personalities, so many artists that had different styles and different genres of music. This is a show called Real Talk. I need you to give me some tea, Doc. What are some of those artists that gave you the most difficult hell to deal with? Who are
You
some of
know
them
what?
artists? I want to know, Teddy.
Believe it or not, no artist. You know what? All the artists, as I, we well, here's where my career started with Warner Brothers. After Warner Brothers started the Black Music Dynasty, they said, Teddy, we want you to go to. We're going to send you to Charlotte. You're going to be in charge of North and South Carolina. We want you to develop the black music industry for North and South Carolina. So that's what I did. And my first big project there was the Prince project that they brought to Warner Brothers. Prince had he produced the album. He wrote all the lyrics. He played all the instruments. He brought
Yeah.
the album to Warner Brothers on a silver platter. And as soon as I heard that album, I'm like, I called the home office and said, "Who is this artist singing soft and wet?" They said,
Mhm.
"That's a new artist that we signed. His name is Prince." Prince who? Just Prince. I said, I'd love to get him into the market to do a promotional tour. And Warner Brothers was very reluctant at the time, but finally they gave in and say, "Okay, Teddy, we're going to send him into Charlotte to work with you." And all the artists had already been hearing about my reputation. All the artists always wanted to come to Charlotte, wherever I was, DC, Burbank, when I was transferred back to Atlanta. All the artists always wanted to come and work with me because they would see all the publicity that I created, and they would see all of my work in all the music trades like Billboard, Cashbox, Record World, all of those. Also, there was several black music conventions at the time that we would showcase all of our artists like Jack the Rapper
Rapper,
and
yeah.
Black Radio exclusives. So none of those artists never gave me the fits. They were just happy to have an opportunity to work with me because they knew once they worked with me, every time they came to town, they were saying, Teddy, thank you for having me. We heard so much about you. I've been looking forward to working with you. So it wasn't, we didn't have a kind of roster of artists because we were promoting, we were grooming artists.
Yeah.
None of these artists, they couldn't have no ego. Nobody knew them. You know what I mean? So when you're able to develop an artist's career from the ground up, they develop so much respect for you. So none of these artists, but eventually other artists started to see the success that we were having with Warner Brothers,
Uh-huh.
and then they wanted to come over to the label. Atlantic Star came over to the label. Frankie Beverly came over to Warner Brothers. He was with Capitol Records for years, but he never had a number one record to cross over. We did that for him.
Mhm.
Miles Davis came over to Warner Brothers because he saw all the success we were having with our jazz roster, like Bob James and David Sanborn and Al Jarreau and Foreplay. So that's the kind of roster that we built and the kind of reputation that I had in the industry to be able to promote and market and groom these artists to their superstardom.
So, um, because the reason I asked that question is because a lot of times artists do, they can be very difficult to work with. Um, I know specifically when it comes to gospel music, there's a lot of artists that are very difficult to work with, and so I've always thought that that type of attitude was in the industry for many years, or I guess they have developed it along the way. I don't know
Hmm.
whether I got spoiled in some way or another, but you've always heard bad news or bad things about certain artists. They're hard to work with, or they're
I've
hard.
heard a lot of that. I've heard that a lot. But I never had that problem, and very seldom that those issues ever come up at Warner Brothers. We had a couple of gospel artists, Andre Crouch and the Winans
Okay,
was a gospel. We had a lot of success with those artists,
yeah.
but we never, I'm speaking for myself. I never had those kind of egotistical artists that didn't appreciate all the hard work that we did for them to develop their careers.
Well, it proves that what you're saying is true because everybody, Teddy has received over 50 gold and platinum albums in recognition of his contributions to their career success. Speaking of the artists that he mentioned, and all as well as additional, each artist has received nominations and awards from the NAACP Image Awards, BET, MTV, Soul Train Award, American Music Awards, Tony Award, Billboard Music Awards, Grammy Awards. Some have even been inducted into the Extreme Rhythm and Blues and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And so, yeah, you've done a great job, man. So this book entitled "A Golden Past and a Platinum Future." What do people expect to read when they get this book?
Well, I would like for people to, if you want to know about Black music and Black history, this is what my book is all about. It's entitled A Golden Past and a Platinum Future. Because you'll see photos of never seen before photos in my book. And every photo has a story. And that's what it made it kind of easy, rather easy for me to write the book because every photo has a story. All the artists that I mentioned, as I was mentioning our artist roster, all those artists, oh, we have personal stories. We have stories in terms of developing their careers. We have stories about, because a lot of times, Rodell, it wasn't just about the artist. It was about their careers and their families because a lot of them we became friends. So it wasn't just about the music, but of course our relationship certainly helped uh, boost their careers because I took a personal interest in a lot of those artists. And of course, when you take that personal interest in several different artists, it becomes more than a job. It becomes part of your career. It becomes part of your family.
Yeah.
So we were able to develop their careers, and it wasn't just work; it's about friendship as well.
So the title entitled "A Golden Past and a Platinum Future." I take it then you've had a wonderful career. Those 20 years of being in the industry has been golden for you. The platinum future. What does that entail?
Well, basically, just kind of give you a little backstory in reference to the title of the book. I wanted to do something special for my 65th birthday. So when COVID hit, business kind of slowed down, almost came to a halt. And once I started looking at all the photos, people always used to say, Teddy, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. A lot of times, Rodell, when people tell you that, they have no idea what it entails to write a book, or sometimes they may be trying to massage your ego. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, you need to write a book. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. So when COVID hit, things slowed down. I preserved all of my photos, and when I started looking at my photos, every photo has a story.
Hmm.
But during my 65th birthday, I wasn't planning on writing a book. I just wanted to write like a kind of like a long bio of my career. And when I got with my editor, I started writing and writing and writing. And she said, Teddy, this is, man, this is not just a celebration of your 65th birthday. Man, you got a book here. Keep writing. And I'm writing, and every photo that I have has a story. This photo has a story. My photos with Prince, developing his career, that's a great story. My photos with James Ingram, that's a great story and a great friendship. That's a great story. My photos with Quincy Jones, great stories, great history there. My photos with Donna Summer, Al B. Shore, all of these artists that I mentioned, we have personal stories of developing their careers in my book. So, so at that point, just being able to write this book and relive my history through this book, and it starts, yeah, my book starts out as a paper boy in Palmetto, then to the warehouse work, getting a job working at the warehouse in the Warner Brothers Distribution Center, to the supervisor of the mailroom, to to being promoted to the as the regional promotion and marketing director for Warner Brothers, promoted from the regional representative to the national representative, from Charlotte, North Carolina to Washington D.C. to Burbank, California. So my career just kind of spanned throughout that era, and it's not only just about Black music history. It's more of it's more of a memoir, because my book also consists of other uh, uh, careers in the industry that I pursued, such as uh, uh, TLA Real Estate Consultant, where we consult homeowners so they're able to keep their homes if they're facing some type of financial hardship. We can help them save their home. And just to kind of give you an example, several artists on the roster, we've been able to help them as well.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, because after their music careers kind of wind it down, and the royalties are not coming in, and the publishing is slowed down. Their money slowed up too, so we had to do loan modifications for them based on their current income. So the book spans my entire life from the time I was 6 years old up until the age of 65, which basically the book is up. The book is written up into real time. And what I like for people to do, and thanks for showing the photo of my book there, and for people to be able to go to the book website. Let me give you the website for the book. It's www.toughfact.net. TOUGHACT.net. That's www.toughfact.net. TOUGHACT.net. Now, when you go to the website, you can see the table of contents. In the table of contents, once you read the table of contents for the book, man, you're gonna understand the importance of this book. And it's and we celebrate this book all year round. But in February is Black History Month. It's celebrated widely around the country. And June is coming up. And June is Black Music Month, which will
Yeah.
be celebrated again all over the world. So this book is a great gift for anyone that ever wanted to be in the music industry, to know how it works, how artists' careers are developed. It's a great gift for anyone that's interested in Black music and the history of Black music. So this book says it all, Ladell.
Yeah, Teddy's book, everybody, is the beginning of something really big, kind of book that documentaries and movies are made of. And I was going to ask you, man, do you ever anticipate on taking this to the screen, brother?
Absolutely. I'm waiting on the producers to call me now. Hey, ask Tyler Perry to give me a call or Oprah Winfrey. I'm ready.
Yeah, man, because it's needed, really though, Teddy, because of your 20-year experience plus knowing these artists in and out, um, and have developed them and nurtured them and groomed them into being who they are today. Some of the finest artists in the country that we've ever known, and I will add that Frankie Beverly is my all-time favorite. I will say that. I got to say that one.
Absolutely. And it's a pleasure. And it's a pleasure to work with someone like Frankie Beverly because, when he's with his record label Capitol Records for 10 years, and he see the job that we're doing over at Warner Brothers, and he came to Warner Brothers for us to take his career to the next level.
Yeah,
Okay, the Isley Brothers, man, the Isley Brothers has a stellar, one of my favorite groups of all times as well. So
absolutely.
when Ronald Isley decided to go solo, he comes to Warner Brothers. Atlantic Star. I think they were with A&M Records. They had several hits, but when they saw the success that we were having at Warner Brothers, they came to Warner Brothers. Miles Davis had been with his record label for 15 years. He saw the success we were having with the jazz roster at Warner Brothers. He came over to Warner Brothers. Okay. So just to be able to work with some of the greatest artists of our times, whether it's gospel, R&B, jazz, even rock and roll. We even crossed over several white artists to the black market.
Yeah,
Madonna started the black radio. Rod Stewart, Do You Think I'm Sexy? We crossed that over to the black audience.
yeah.
ZZ Top was crossed over to the black market. So was Michael McDonald. I keep forgetting. He came over to. He was with the Doobie Brothers.
All
The
right.
Doobie Brothers are already recorded for Warner Brothers. So when Michael McDonald decided to go solo, he wanted to be part of the black music department. So, so it's not only just the R&B artists that we groom, the pop artists, the white artists, the jazz artists, and later in our careers as we develop all of those different formats of music around the late '80s, early '90s, we were missing a format of music which was hip hop,
Mm-hmm.
which would bring us full circle. The first artist that we signed to Warner Brothers. Well, basically, Ice T was on Sire Records, which was a custom label of Warner Brothers, and we promoted and marketed and distributed Sire Records, and they brought us Ice T. And I don't have to tell you the success that we had with Ice T, and the success that how we developed his career. He's one of the number one spokespersons in the country,
Yeah.
not only for endorsements but for movies as well. Also, we teamed up with Cold Chilling Records. Cold Chilling was a hip hop record label out of New York. Cold Chilling brought us Biz Markie, Big Daddy Kane, Marley Marl, and the real Shantae. There was a several Shantaes running around, but we had the real Shantae.
Okay.
Yeah,
I actually had a chance, Teddy, to see Atlantic Star live for one time and one time only. First and one and only time only at Center Stage.
okay.
Oh my God! And I was up close, but I had to be on the third row. When I tell you, they put on a performance that's bar none. I mean, and they sound just as good as they did back in the day. I'm sure. You know,
Absolutely, absolutely.
my
And
my
very,
point
very
is
sure.
my point is artists like those people that you've developed and helped groom themselves. They came up in an era where real music, man, was real music, and they still know how to perform live.
Absolutely. Because basically, when you're able to develop an artist's career over the years through 4 or 5 albums, they have longevity for life. These artists was not one hit wonders.
Yeah,
We built catalogs with these artists. four, five, just Prince, for instance. When Prince came to the label, the success that we were having with Prince, Warner Brothers gave Prince his own record label called Paisley Park. Prince brought us March Day and the Time, Sheila E., Vanity Six, Apollonia. Okay, so just kind of give you an idea of those kind of careers that we developed. George Clinton came to Warner Brothers. He brought us the Funkadelics. He brought us Boosie's Rubber Band. So those kind of entrepreneur artists also brought us career artists that we developed their careers over the years as well. Just like the Funkadelics, when George Clinton brought us the Funkadelics, they brought us that album, Knee Deep, One Nation Under a Groove.
Yeah.
Man, that was over.
One nation
It was
under a
over.
groove.
When he brought us Boosie's Rubber Band, man, we broke that album wide open.
Man,
Two
that's
step,
another artist. That's another
yeah,
artist
two
I chance to
step,
see. Yeah,
yeah.
that's a great artist. George Clinton and the Funkadelics. That's another artist I got a chance to see live. Man, when I tell you they perform, man, I mean it's like nonstop for them, Teddy.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because when you got those type of artists, entrepreneurs like Prince was a big fan of George Clinton. Okay, because George Clinton was the first artist entrepreneur. He had Parliament, Funkadelic, Boosie's Rubber Band, Fred Wesley and the Horny Horns, the Brides of Funkenstein, George Clinton as a solo artist. That's six or seven artists that he had all on different record labels. Okay,
Wow.
but it's so hard to keep up with your royalties when you got your money spread it out like that. So Prince came to me and said, Teddy, he said, George Clinton got all of these artists on all of these different labels. He said, Warner Brothers is going to give me my label. And what if when they give it to me, if I can keep all these artists on the Warner Brothers? Not only do I keep all the artists on the Warner Brothers, but also my movies too.
Mm.
Purple Rain movie and all those other movies. That's a great idea. He would always come to me to consult when he had something like that heavy on his mind to get my feedback.
Yes.
So when he learned a lot from George Clinton. He's a big fan of George Clinton. I think he produced a couple of albums on the Paisley Park record label for George Clinton as well. So he Prince just took the artist entrepreneurship to a whole nother level.
Wow. Man, I'm so honored, first of all, to talk to you, Teddy, about the history of this book you came out with. This an industry insider, everybody. Historic insights on black music and entertainment and Atlanta's emergence as a national music and film mecca. This book is called A Golden Past and a Platinum Future. You got to get a copy of this because there's so much information that he's spoken on today. Probably is a lot of stuff he hadn't even spoken on, but I'm honored to have you here, man, to talk about this book because this book it encompasses a lot of what happened in the golden years, I guess you would call it. I guess that's why it's
Absolutely.
called the golden past because it's one of those things where you've got artists that they'll last forever. Um, who are some of the artists that have really blessed you in so many different ways that even you couldn't imagine happening for you? Can you speak on some certain artists that really came to you and just I just want to bless you, Teddy.
Well, you know what? Here's what I tell people, Rodell. I've been truly blessed. I've I've been blessed to work with a queen. I've been blessed to work with a king, and I've been blessed to work with a prince. The queen I've been able to work with was Donna Summer, the queen of disco.
Mm,
The king that I was able to work with was Sylvester, the king of disco. The artist that I've been blessed to work with is Prince. So that's a king, a queen, and a prince. And when you had an opportunity to work with superstars like that, you've truly been blessed. But
yeah,
there's so many other artists here on the record label that not only a great artist, but a lot of them became good friends, such as Prince and James Ingram and Shaka Khan. Those artists there, Candace Staten, we still talk from time to time. Uh, L.B. Shore, just helping him develop his career. He came to us when he was 21 years old. I took him under my wings to develop his career. Uh, Karen White, the experience with Karen White, she's always been very grateful and appreciative to for everything that we did to develop her career. And when she came out with her solo album and released a single called Superwoman, that was like a national anthem. You
Mm,
know, you develop careers and take records like that to number one. It's a it's a totally different experience.
yeah.
Jennifer Holliday is a great artist, one of my favorite artists as well. So so many of these artists that would not only I mean Sly Stone. I took Sly Stone on his last promotional tour. When he was in so when Sly and the Family Stone broke up, uh, Sly Stone came to Warner Brothers. And Warner Brothers is telling his staff, look, Sly Stone is with Warner Brothers now. We spent a ton of money developing his, we spent a ton of money signing him over to the label. We really need to get him out on the road and to promote and market his album. Who wants Sly Stone in their market? Nobody. Nobody wanted him. I'm the only person to say I would love to have Sly Stone come and work with me here in Atlanta. And the reason being, nobody had nothing personal against Sly Stone. Sly had worked through a lot of his issues, and drugs was part of the issues at the time. So nobody wanted to take the chance. But when Sly came to Atlanta, it's one of the most memorable promotional tours I ever had. We did retail, radio, nightclubs. He was on time for everything. Um, and after the promotional tour was over, uh, he said, "Hey, I was taking him back to his hotel. He said, "Hey, Teddy, do you mind coming up to my suite? Let's kind of talk a little bit, if you don't mind." I said, "Sure." Went up to his suite. I ordered some champagne and dessert. We sit there and talk. He said, "Teddy," he said, "Prince told me what you did for his career." He said, "I really appreciate what you're doing for me." He said, "I've forgotten how much it feels to feel important again. Now I feel important again. I haven't felt this way in a long time. And I really appreciate what you're doing for me. I really appreciate it, and I wanted you to know that." I got one of those rare photos with Sly Stone, and that story is in my book as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Bob Marley, man, when Bob Marley, I took Bob Marley on his last promotional tour
Mm,
in Washington D.C. Bob Marley released an album called Survival, and the cover of the album had all the flags of South Africa opposing all the apartheid. And so we put this promotional party together in Washington D.C. We had people coming from all over the country, as well as from the Senate, the Congress, people from the White House. Everybody was at the Bob Marley party that I hosted for him in Washington D.C. So that story's in the book. After the promotional party, Bob Marley said, "Teddy," he said, "Man, this is the best promotional party I've ever had." He said, "Do you mind coming up to my suite? Let's talk a little bit." You know, sure, let's come up and talk to you. We get up there in his suite. He rolls a fat one.
okay.
Passes it to
You pass it
he
to
had,
you.
mm, it was strong. It was some powerful for stuff, but it was
The
good
real potent, huh? Real potent.
stuff. He says, Teddy, do you ever come to Jamaica? I said, of course I come to Jamaica. I usually take my family to Jamaica every year.
Hmm.
He said, what part of Jamaica do you usually visit? I said, Negril. He said, my home is only 10 miles from Negril. He said, next time you come to uh, Jamaica, I got you, first class, everything. He said, I'm going to have my guide come over to the resort, and he's going to take you and your family over to my childhood home. They closed down the Bob Marley home tour for us to just kind of tour. In the book, you read about it. My wife and I sitting on his bed that he grew up in as a child,
Uh-huh.
and that was one of the most gratifying experiences that I've had. Also, working with an artist.
Let me ask you about Albie Sure. The last time I checked, I believe I understand he was doing radio in Vegas. Is he still out there?
I think he's still living in Vegas, but he's not doing radio. Al had a serious health issues
Hmm.
a couple of years ago.
Right.
He gained a lot of weight. He was in a coma for like 3 months,
Mm.
and he's finally recovered from it, and he's getting his health back. He's lost a lot of weight. He's looking good, and also he's getting his career back on track.
That's good, man. That's good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear because he was one of those another one of those crooners that the ladies loved.
Absolutely. Ashford and Simpson, two of the greatest songwriters of our times. When Joyce and I was living in Washington D.C., Ashford and Simpson was coming to town, and of course, I wanted to make sure that all of my guests was accommodated. I called the caterer to cater food for backstage after the show, and once the show was over, they greeted me. They greeted me and all of my guests to come and backstage, and that's when they met my future wife.
Mm.
And Valerie was saying, and Nick and Valerie both was said, Teddy. I introduced him. I said, hey, this is George. This is my lady. And then they just took the conversation over from there. Teddy, how long y'all been going together? Are you guys going to get married? Man, she's very pretty. And Nick is like, Teddy, don't you let her go, man. She's wonderful. And they just took over the conversation. But just to show you what a big heart they had in
Yeah.
terms of accommodating us
Yeah.
and also encouraging us to continue our relationship. And of course, Joyce and I have been married for over 44 years. So
Man.
those are the kind of people that they were.
That,
Very good friends, and we just had a great time. Patty Austin is a uh, great friend of mine. In my book, there, I talk about the promotional tour here in Atlanta that I took Patty Austin on.
hmm.
And the promotional tour, she had just released an album called Getting Away with Murder. And okay, so after we finished our promotional tour of radio stations and record stores and the press, we went over to Mr. V's Figure Eight nightclub, world famous nightclub in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And it's very close to the law enforcement uh, here in Atlanta. So I called the chief of police and I said, hey, I got Patty Austin in town. She got an album out called Getting Away with Murder. I said, when we come out of Mr. V's, I want two of your detectives standing there when we come out and say, hey, Patty. She said, yes. She said, he said, did you record an album called Getting Away with Murder? She said, yes, I did. He said, put your hands out. She held her hands out. He handcuffed her, and she's like, "Daddy, Daddy, help me, help me." So that was one of the promotions that I did
I bet.
for her album. That photo made Jet magazine as well as all the other trade magazines. Now, Patty Austin is on Quincy Jones' label, Quest Records. Quincy Jones saw the promotion. He calls me up and said, Teddy, I've been in the music industry for a long time. I never, ever saw a promotion like this. We
Yeah.
got artists locked up, handcuffs on, to promote her album, Getting Away with Murder.
How
He
about
loved it. And he flew me out to LA for a special weekend that I'll never forget as well. And that story's in the book as well as the photos with Quincy.
I want to ask you, Teddy, about one of the artists that I haven't heard you mention. Have you ever worked with Peaches and Herb?
Never worked with Peaches and Herb,
Okay.
but I've always been big fans of Peaches and Herb. Didn't they do the song United?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Reunite. Reunited.
Reunited.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They've always been big fans of mine. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But
Okay.
another artist that I had a great time working with was Sylvester,
Mm.
the king of disco. Sylvester signed with Warner Brothers. He's been with another record label. Not happy with them. He comes to Warner Brothers. So that's when you could go to the airport. You could go all the way to the concourse. You didn't have to go through security to meet your guests exiting the plane.
Mhm.
So Sylvester exits the plane. Wow. Very flamboyant. He had on his long mink coat. He had on this long wig with a white streak going down the middle.
Mm.
So as he exits the plane, I said, "Hey, Sylvester, my name is Teddy. I'm with Warner Brothers." He said, "I know who you are." He said, "That's one of the reasons that I came over here to Warner Brothers so you can promote and market my music."
Yeah.
He said, "I said, well, hey man, it's great to meet you. I've been looking forward to working with you, and I'm looking forward to this promotional tour." So we get in the car, we head downtown. I said, "Sylvester, I got you staying at the Ritz Carlton Hotel." He's like, "Teddy, you got me at the Ritz Carlton?" I said, "You damn right, you the king, right?" He said, "You damn right, I'm the king."
Okay.
So, I checked him into the hotel. We did, we went out. So the next morning, I said, "Hey, we got a here's the itinerary. Uh, so I see you in the morning, 8 o'clock." Okay. So we work all day. In the afternoon, take him back to the hotel. He said, "Teddy," he said, "I'm going to be going out to some of the gay clubs tonight." He said, "You don't have to go if you don't want to, man. I understand."
Yeah.
I said, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "I represent you everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't care whether it's a gay club. I don't care whether it's a straight club. I don't care where we are. I'm your representative."
About that. About
He
that.
said, "Man, Rodell, when the night that we hit three clubs, treated like royalty.
Yeah.
Everywhere that we went. I mean, that's one of the, besides the Prince, Sylvester got one of the best welcomings at any nightclub that I've ever been to with an artist.
Okay.
Champagne, shrimp, lobster, everything's on the house.
Wow.
Everybody was so delighted to see Sylvester. They knew he was in town. They heard all the radio interviews, and just to be able to be up close and personal with him,
Yeah.
it was one of the highlights of my career. Just to be able to work with him and to visit the gay nightclubs, and we had a ball. We had a ball. You know.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
Uh,
Well, man, I want to thank you, man, for taking the time, Teddy, because I know you're a busy man. This book, everybody, is called "A Golden Past and a Platinum Future." Go out and get it. Tell them how they can get a copy of the book, Teddy.
okay, what I like for everybody to do, go to the book website. The website is very easy to remember. Remember this. It's toughact.net. And all you got to do is remember, all you got to do is say, that Rodell Lewis is a tough act to follow. It's toughact.net.
There you go.
TOUGHACT.net. And when you go to the website, you'll be able to see some of the great reviews on the book. You'll be able to see the table of contents. You'll be able to see over 50 gold and platinum albums and other awards that I received over the years, and also a lot of the photos that never seen before. So each page on the website will take you directly to Amazon. So also, you can send me a book review through the website as well. So I welcome all reviews on my book, and I'm just blessed to be able to present this book and write my memoir. In fact, Rodell, I'm going to be going to Palmetto, Georgia this week to present my book to the mayor of Palmetto.
Okay.
The mayor of Palmetto is a black female, first black mayor that Palmetto's ever had. And also, the mayor's office is right there in the train at the train depot where I used to pick up the papers from that the Atlanta Journal and Constitution used to drop off every morning. So
Like
every
full circle. It's like full circle for you.
absolutely. So everybody just think of Rodell is a tough act to follow. Go to my book website, toughact.net. It'll take you directly to Amazon, and you'll be able to see the table of contents. Once you see that table of contents, you're gonna want that book. You want to be able to buy it for some of your very close friends. And plus, the other thing about it is we're in our second run, second edition, and it's a hardback.
Mm. Okay.
And when you see your book, and when people see your book, you you're gonna tell them you're gonna have to get your own book.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
I
paper
know that.
is pretty for you to be putting your fingers all over my book, so you're gonna have to get your own book. That's what people tell people
There
when
you
they
go.
come into their house and see this book on the coffee table. This
How about
book right there needs to be in every home, needs to be in every business. It needs to be in on every coffee table. It needs to be in every record label. It needs to be with every producer.
very
And
good. Very good.
I'm gonna
Congratulations, my brother. Keep doing what you're doing because obviously you've made an impact on the industry, and of course, everybody know who Teddy Ashton is. What? Are you kidding me? He is definitely the man. Okay.
I do
Listen, man.
appreciate I do appreciate you taking the time to invite me on your show. And we're here anytime. If you'd like to do this again for Black Music Month, I'm here for you, my friend.
Hey, man. It's an honor having you on the show today. Thank you so much. We had some technical difficulty in the beginning, everybody, but we got him worked out and gave him his time because he deserved it. He really do, man. My man, Teddy Ashton. Appreciate your
Thank
time.
everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Rodell,
Have a great day now.
in the ATL.
Yes, sir.